What's up, everybody? I could not be more excited because the patch is here. I need more experience with it, right? But I was confident enough with the several games that I've played, with this in the background being the first one. And in case you didn't watch my previous video, it was super fitting because this is the serial cheater I did and showcased in my last video, if you want to call it that. Just try to kind of spotlight as an example and also just be aware of this player as well as the players who do the constant disconnecting. And it was just great to play him because on top of that, he was a true OP mechanic abuser, and that's all he had. And of course, being a player who used him as well, many people who just don't have experience with the game will say, well, you use him too. There's no difference, but there is. And if you play this game at a high level, you just know, you can tell when a player literally just has no skill and is using the mechanics because that's all he can use, as opposed to using them because that's what the game's given. And to compete at the highest level, for example, if you go watch any of the other content creators that are around my rank, top in the world rank, it's just every player's using them. If you want to compete, you have to, bottom line. With that being said, it was great because right off the bat, I just could tell. And I had two injuries, which, by the way, I've never had before. I hope they can fix that. But I had Messi out. I had like Camavinga playing winger. I had like the 82 Chiesa in. It was just no injuries ever. And all of a sudden I had them, but I said, forget it. We're still going to get in here and get into ranked and feel this patch out. And just like I expected, it's awesome. I was spot on. I'm not saying they fixed everything, but the main things that allowed no skill players to really rise and made it such a toxic game for the past X amount of time since those OP mechanics got really widespread, those are gone, right? And it's back to playing real football, and we'll go over some of those things here. But look, I'm wondering if they got rid of that disconnect connect thing because this, he could tell he couldn't handle me right off the bat. I mean, he obviously played a few games already too because he didn't even try. And he would have been trying right off the bat to use the OP mechanics, and they were absolutely fixed. And it looked like he tried to do his leave the game thing. I just know it based on how he does it when he cheats usually. And you see him keep pausing here, and I'm wondering if UFL got a hold of it because a lot of players were doing it. Got really widespread, the disconnect glitch, if you want to call it that. And I'm wondering if they fixed that, which would be amazing if I could have been a fly on the wall to see what he was trying to do there. But I just totally was feeling out the game here. Obviously, I have Rust too because of those mechanics, and you'll see some of that. But just getting to feel it out. Like I said, we'll go over several things that are better. But for those of you who are like me, who just love to play real football and were knew that they would be game once it came back, you can be excited because I promise you, it's back to business as usual. Not saying it's a perfect game, but as I've said from the beginning, the spacing, right, and just the fluidity of the game, it allows for a variety of formations then that you can use to then match your playstyle. You don't have to force your playstyle to the meta like you do in, for instance, EAFC. The skill gap is back because of the spacing. So defensively, if you're not manually defending and switching your players, you will get ran through. In the attack, the dribbling feels better. Whatever they tweak there, it doesn't feel fast or anything like that. It still feels fluid, but then it feels like there's sharper cuts, like either with R1 or just the quick left stick cuts. They feel sharper on the dribble. So dribbling is absolutely an option. If you can't defend the dribble, if you can't manually defend passing lanes, you're going to get ran through. I can tell you that. But it does feel like on the dribble too, the dribblers are a little more fluid, I don't know if it's quicker or just tighter on the ball, whatever it is. Dribbling just feels very good right now, along with the passing. I think they need a little bit of work on some of the weighted passes, particularly their through ball. As big of a mess that UFL is because of the contradiction between their attacking and then like the speed of their defense. They do have great animations, including and also great through balls. I love the through ball, the weight of it, the look of it. I wish UFL could take a note from them with their through ball. But other than that, like the L1 triangle's gone. You'll see here, unless I've already done it, you can rewind. But I think I do it a little bit in the future here. Just because of the player I was playing. I did it in some casual games too, but the L1 triangle I tested out. And you'll see the ball either just sails out if you power it up like you used to, and if you don't, then it will essentially just go to your wing, the opposing wing back. So uh, I could even tell before I tried it out, but because it's this player, I don't really care about any cheaters. Otherwise, I was going to keep it the testing part out in casual games, but I didn't care about losing possession for one when it didn't work because I knew this player had nothing for me now that those mechanics were gone. And two, um, I also just really just didn't care about a cheater. They're not going to get my respect. So I tried it once, could see it didn't work, and also even if I didn't try it, I would have known because a player like this will be using any would have been using them if they still worked at all. Same with that lob cross I did a few times, only in that casual game, not in this one. And I can just tell you if I'll end up probably showing you the footage in a bit, but if not, it's a little less visible. Like Holland or whoever your striker is will still go up for the ball, and it looks almost like a 50-50, but now the goalkeeper does win the ball. I will say that because in these several times I tried it, it was uh, it was chances where in previously before the patch I would have scored. So the bottom line is the game feels so much better, and my mind just reeling with all the formations that I had that were great and that could have worked, but the patch it just wasn't. It wasn't right, and the patch was needed for them to work. Like the way the meta was, some of these formations I had to put in the bag, but I'll absolutely be sharing them, starting with this one that I used in this game and will be using going forward, the 4-2-3-1, which in this game it's a 4-2-3-1, just regular, and then there's the 4-2-3-1 wide. It's not that one. In FC, it would be called the one I'm using is called the 4-2-3-1 narrow. It has the three cams and the striker instead of the one cam with two wingers. So the way I'm able to use that, by the way, is because Messi's a cam, and then I also knew that I would want to use Mbappe in some of these other roles, so I actually use one of my skill points to give him cam. So that's the one thing is if you have wingers, you have to make sure you have players like Messi and Mbappe that can play cam as well. Go in if you do want to potentially change your formation from a winger setup to cams or possibly use this 4-2-3-1. Just make sure go into the alternate positions and see how far away are you from skill points, and if you do use a skill point, will their next position be cam? Sometimes their next position would be like striker, for instance, or whatever. So you would just have to make sure. But outside of that, the other thing I wanted to go into before I miss it is you see right there, so close to putting the game away with Holland. Man, that would have been nice. My opponent had one a bit earlier where I anticipated him cutting in, and he didn't cut in. He was able to get a chance, but it was more off my mistake. It was just like only one of the game. Uh, but why I say that is because on defense, you have to manually switch or you will get punished. So it creates a skill gap. But going into the attack, you absolutely have to have somewhat of a knowledge of football, right? Because what players like this player used to do, and you could kind of see it throughout, is how it was before the patch. You could just press the pass button no matter which way you're facing. You literally had a 360-degree angle. It didn't matter. So players would just press XXX over and over and over, and no matter what, the pass would go there, and it would go flying at a high pace right to and lock onto the player receiving the ball, and it was just nonsense, right? Now you have to receive the ball and face a player just like you would in real football. So you have to have a knowledge of real football, and you have to be quick so a defender can't steal, get the ball from you. But you can't just spam XXX over and over and work it up the field. You have to find the actual passing lanes. You have to dribble when it's necessary. Find the correct pass to use. Like the L1 triangle is still viable. You've seen it in that previous chance. I played a perfect L1 triangle ball in a real situation, how L1 triangle is supposed to be used. So it's not like they just removed the OP commands, they just removed the OP ways that people were using them that just weren't realistic, right? Um, I haven't tested out the pressure tactics either, like the passing around the back to see how that works. That's my next thing I want to test out. Because that was a nuisance too, obviously. It would be nice if the pressure tactics are strong enough that players can no longer do that. However, it's a slippery slope. I said in my previous video, I just want to make sure that they don't try to fix that, but then mistakenly make it to where everyone's just using constant pressure the whole game because now it's OP, right? That's kind of a slippery slope you have to be careful with. So I haven't tested that. That's the one thing that stop me, like if I give them a grade, from giving them a perfect A plus. And I'm not saying the whole patch fixed everything to where the game's perfect, but for how these patches usually go, like in EAFC, where some of the things we get excited about when I was playing there, we would get excited they were fixing this, that, and they wouldn't even fix it, or they would miss the mark. So I haven't seen any area where they missed the mark so far. Again, not saying the game's perfect, but it feels amazing. The spacing's still there. They didn't, compromise the integrity of the fluidity or the spacing, the actual like kind of layout of both teams in the game that make this why I say this game is excellent. People will say, "What are you talking about? You're just." I think someone in the comments said, like, it feels like you're over exaggerating and just give this game credit it doesn't deserve. No, I am not. Look at it for yourself. The spacing, you don't see 8 players packed in between the 18 where you literally can't do anything, which makes it a game that you have to use. You can't suit the formation to your play style in EAFC. You have to literally use the one or two formations that fit what works in the broken game. That's nonsense, right? There's all different types of players out there that play, they're like Y formations there or whatever. A broken game is where you can't even use all the formations. They might as well just say, here's the one you got to use, at least in Ultimate Team. Not only that, but there's only certain ways it'll work scoring too because of the terrible, options in build-up, just because of the terrible defense. And then even further than that, in this game, if you try to just let AI defend, you'll get torn up. In a game like EAFC, you're rewarded when you don't control your defenders. The AI wins the ball for you. It's crazy. In this game, the only way you're going to get to a high level is if you can manually switch your defenders, tweak them into the right position to block passing lanes and dribbling lanes, as you see a beautiful Holland strike. Um, and that's the way you're going to be good at defense. If you can't manually block passing lanes or dribbling lanes, or not dive in like I did earlier in the game when Holland got my opponent got his only chance. I anticipated him cutting in, but once he didn't, then I kind of dove in. He went right by me. Like, you get punished for your mistakes in this game. That's huge. In the attack, you get punished if you can't receive the ball and kind of face in the right direction, find the right passing lanes, and really pass through them and create chances. Right? If you don't do that, you're going to end up like this guy right here that just gives up the ball nearly every single time. And I'm not saying I don't give up the ball either, and I'm not going to make excuses, although I was just kind of feeling out the game. But nonetheless, I was making plenty of mistakes too, and that's the beauty of it. Like, you're never going to be perfect, but the better you are, the more skill you have in the game, the more you're going to keep the ball, which means the more you're going to create chances, and also the less time your opponent's going to have to create chances on his end. So get out there, try new things. I tried there to just see how a through ball would work. I wanted to see if it would lock on to Holland like it used to lock on passes like that would lock onto the attacker. And I liked that it didn't because I was going to put it in front of him and then the defender intercepted it. That should be how it is. So I did notice like corners do work. I ended up scoring a game winner on a corner here, but I will say that the player pulled his keeper out. And so I feel like almost anybody would score, but it does feel like, yes, if you have a strong header of the ball, they can still win the headers. But it's not like the offense is just going to win the header like 95% of the time like it was. It seems more even, if you will, right? And the defense is going to win plenty. If you mark right on corners, you should be fine. I'm not 100% on that because, like I said, I scored a game winner on a corner. It's still possible Holland could dunk on you, but if he dunks on you, it's because you either mismatch your marks and put like Messi on him, or because he just happened to win the ball. You see there, like that situation there. I think the goalie came out, so maybe that's unfair to look at that corner. But the bottom line is the patch is excellent. I couldn't be more excited. We are really going to see the players who truly needed those OP mechanics and didn't belong, and the other players who, like myself, were using them, but only because we were forced to compete. And it's a great feeling to know, like, we'll get to go into these players who would see you score like a lob cross and go, you have no skill. That's the only reason you're there. No one should listen to you. You're the worst person. And then you just know once the patch comes, you're going to be able to prove it. And so that's what I'm happy about. But I'm even more happy that I get to share these formations, share more content, so you guys can go get better at a game that I literally can put a stamp on. That's actually fun to play. because I couldn't put a stamp on the previous one. I just believed in UFL being able to fix it, which is why I kept playing and kept providing content to help you get through it. Now I can provide you content to help you, whether it's get from gold division to, whatever, platinum, or, diamond league to top player in the world, and along the way you beat me. That would make, I'd be proud of that. I might get mad, I might rage at you, but after that I'd be proud of that. So at the end of the day, it's like an extension of why I love coaching. I love helping people. And I know there's a lot of people out there like me that when they put their time into something, including a video game, and they're competing, they want to continue to improve. They want to be the best they can be. And I can no doubt help you with that. And talk is cheap, right? So please test my theories out. Go use my formations. See how they work for you. Um, Listen to some of the tips and tricks, or whatever you want to call it, that I give, and go try them out yourself. See if they work. I've had excellent feedback so far, but I'm not just one of those. There's plenty of those snake oil salesmen that start a channel and they really have no business. You can tell by listening to them, they don't really know what they're talking about. They're just kind of, talking nonsense, right? Uh, but like I said, I want to help you out, and I want to show you and prove to you, put my stuff to the test. Absolutely. And if I meet you on the field along the way, I wish you luck. For those of you who are those players that were saying, "Oh, it's you need the OP mechanics," you say you don't, but and just were convinced of that because I scored like a lob crossover or something. Well, then I can't wait to meet you on the field too, and make sure you go and retract your comment after I school you out there and show you that the skill has always been there. The mechanics are just part of it; they come with it. But make no mistake about it. I've been here, been competing at a high level in these games for years, and the OP mechanics come and go, and there's a lot of players that come and go with those OP mechanics. But I can assure you, I'm not one of them. I'm here for the long haul. Couldn't be more excited about the patch. Couldn't be more excited to release content. First and foremost is going to be that 4231 in-depth breakdown video coming next. Don't miss that one, especially if it sounds like a formation that could work for you. And other than that, get out there, test out the patch. Let me know what you see. If I missed anything, please, discuss it. I love it so far. I do want to hear what you think, though. So in the comments section, just let me know, how your first go at the post-patch era was. And with that being said, just keep grinding, keep having fun, and until next time, have a good one.